Let's see where we're going to go. First problem of the day. Actually, this was Monday's, for those of you who have been following along day by day. The area of the parallelogram is 32 square feet, and the base is 4 feet more than the height. Wow, that's a mouthful. We're looking for both dimensions. So again, we've got a parallelogram, picture that in your head, of 32 square feet. That's pretty. And the base is 4 feet more than the height. Let's take a look at it and see what it looks like. In fact, I even helped us with the pretty picture, right? Everybody says, yeah, thank you, Ernie. So we're looking at some information. So many times when we look at a formula, we're there to find what the area is. This time, you're starting with the area. 32 square feet. And you don't know either dimension, but you've got a wonderful clue going on here. A very important clue. This 4 feet, not 4 feet is the actual measurement, it's what? It's 4 feet more than its height. Now, you know, it could come out that way. We could have a 4 for an answer, but that's not what this is intentionally doing, okay? So we're going to figure it out, first of all. Well, first of all, let's talk about what's a base and what's a height. Any side can be a base. I'm going to go with this one just because it looks a little easier for us to look at, a little more convenient. And based on the fact here, the base is 4 feet more than the height. This looks a little bit longer than, well, you say, where's the height, Ernie? Please, everybody make note of this. This is not the height. See what I'm doing? That little slant? Slants do not make heights. What heights do are perpendicular. And here we go. We're going to connect. And by the way, it could connect anywhere, but it's going to be perpendicular to both of these sides. Now, why is that the case? Because they're running parallel. Therefore, I could put that line anywhere in there, and we know without a shadow of a doubt that it's the same. It's the same as long as we're perpendicular. Both of those sides, it's the same length going across there, same height. So we'll call it H. I can be anything better. Now, let's talk about a little bit about H and base, all right? According to this, my H, I'm going to change letters once again here. I do this from time to time, don't I? We're going to make that go X, and we're going to what do we know about the base? It is what? 4 more than the height. So we'll call it X plus 4. All right, so these are our two dimensions, X and X plus 4. Well, that makes things a lot easier. We're all in one variable. But what do we know? Formula for area, let's put it right over here, and we'll start working underneath there in just a second, is base times height. The same thing with a rectangle, because guess what? A rectangle is a parallelogram, so that formula for area holds also. Just so happens you've got a bunch of right angles there, whereas here we have to find the right angles a little bit more when we make a height drop somewhere in that picture. So the formula says we're going to multiply the base times the height. Well, let's do it. Or the height times the base. We can use commutative property there. So let's go back over here and let's get it now in terms of X. We know we've got to put a base in there, which is X plus 4. We also know we got to have a height, which is what we're going to call X. So we're going to keep it all in the same variable here because that's all we need to do. So let's put it in there times X plus 4. And life is looking pretty good. Now, you say, well, Ernie, there's a bunch of letters there. Well, there's one number, isn't there? But there's one more number that we need to feed into the problem, and that is our 32 right here, square feet, because that is what? That is the actual area. Notice, folks, the clues are going to usually be, yes, right there in the problem, if you just go back and think about it. The formula, you got to remember that. The formula, yeah, and then whatever you need to do with that formula to make things happen, information will be in the problem, and that's what we've got going here. So let's go ahead and take and drop out my bottom third there. Thank you, guys. And let's put 32 in place of A, because that's what it is, right? He told you. It's not that I'm just pulling that out of the sky. And let's do our distributive property. Oh, goodness, yes, we've got to do the distributive property. That's always fun to do, right, on a Friday afternoon. And that's going to give us x squared plus 4x. And the question is, how do we get out of this mess? Well, if you're like many of my students, they just kind of stare at it and say, oh, make that 4x cubed. Not going to work. Don't do that. Although it would give you kind of a nice little answer of 2, but 2 is not the answer for this one. Sorry about that, guys. So what we're going to do, we're going to bring that 32 over. We're going to subtract, because the idea is when we have x squared, can't get rid of it, can't make it move, we will at least try to set it equal to 0 the expression that's attached to here. And what we need to do is move that 32 over here also, and I'm going to put it right out there on the end because you know what? These are lovely like terms, and they don't want to go anywhere, do they? So we got a 0, that's good news. Over here we've got x squared plus 4x. Do not combine them. That's what I said. Do not make that 4x cubed or something that you thought you might want to try to do. Absolutely no, no, no. And then put the minus 32 there. And now so you're going like, it's a trinomial. Yes, it is. It's a great trinomial. And it's cool because there's a 1 in front of the x squared, which means it's not that hard to factor. If it will factor. But you know, it's supposed to factor because we're going to be talking about 4 feet more. We're hoping it is, all right? Let's get into that thing and see where it goes. It could be some crazy, wacky number. Looks like it's going to be integral factors here. So let's pull it out here. We're going to break open into 2 parentheses. Right there we go. And we're going to set that equal to 0 because that's the beauty of this whole problem at this point. And we're going to break open. Now look back at x squared. How do you, oh yeah, you got to have x and x. So those of you are going like, oh, now we remember factoring. Yes, we do. That's why we're reviewing it, right? And we've got a negative 32 on the end. That's multiplication to get to 32. So ways to multiply to get, not just 32, but negative 32. So let's put a plus and a minus. That is going to help us out immensely. Now we're starting to think of ways to multiply to get 32. There are not many, but there are a few. How about it? 4 times 8, 2 times 16, 1 times 32. Which of those is going to bring me home to 4 in the middle? Yeah, that's what I got it, 4 in the middle, right? Well, got to think of how they subtract. So 8 minus 4, that sounds pretty good to me. That gives us 4. Now, if you chose 16 and 2, that'd give you 14, but that's a 4, not a 14, all right? So no misreading on this. Let's put our 8 right there and our 4 here on the end. Check it out real quick. Mental math time. 8x minus 4x, yep, gets us 4x, so we're in good shape. Now, we got 2 possibilities here. We got x plus 8 equals 0, x minus 4 equals 0. Now, I'm putting this step in right there. That is another moment that you guys can do in your head. What plus 8 gives you 0? You know that answer. X is going to equal negative 8. Negative 8 can't be a side, can it? Can't be a height, can't be anything. Bad news bears. Say goodbye, all right? Now, over here, this guy is going to give us x equals 4. Because 4 minus 4 gives us 0, of course, and we can pretend we're adding 4 to both sides, which we are. But again, I'm just asking you to do a little mental math in your head. So this is a good answer. Is it the right answer? You say, well, Ernie, it has to be. You told us we're going to do this, right? So let's see what happens. Does it make sense? First of all, if x is 4, I'm going to put it right there. And then we've got 4 plus 4, which should equal 8. There are your 2 dimensions. 4 times 8, yes, sir, gives you 32. Is 8 4 more than 4? Yes, it is. You got it. Works pretty well. Some of you might have been able to figure that one out mentally in your head, and that would be awesome. And some of you go like, well, it was easy. We got all the answers in multiple choice. But sometimes what they may ask you is just to ask one dimension, okay? Find the height or find the base. And you've got to go back and interpret it with the problem. And you really need to get to the right answer on that rather than just guess and check, especially when there's only one answer given, right? So again, process. It can be done quickly. You know your formula. You distribute. You remember, got to set equal to 0, factor, solve.